I'm just glad to be here with you guys. And let me share with you how the Lord, in His providence, brought me to connect me with Sovereign Grace Church family. About 6 years ago, in God's providence, I was introduced to Lean Baird. Well, anyway, we call him Daddy Lean in the Philippines. To be exact, that was November 29, 2016 at 3 p.m. A pastor friend of mine invited me to attend this conference in Cebu City, and I quickly agreed on the day of the conference. I flew from Manila to Cebu. As I listened on the subject of church leadership, emphasizing on plurality, I've noticed two things: the preacher's faithfulness to the scriptures and the preacher's humility. There's this absence of a holy art thou attitude in the pulpit as he preached. The following day, Pastor Lean invited me to have dinner with him at 6:30 p.m. in a mall in Cebu. As I fellowship with Daddy Lean, I can sense love and care. He was very relational, asking, "How's your wife? How's your family?" And he patiently introduced to me what Sovereign Grace Churches is. I went back to Manila with a heart refreshed and shared my experiences with my fellow elders. We then started discussing and researching about Sovereign Grace Churches. Much more, we were praying if Sovereign Grace Churches is indeed the church denomination that we want to partner with. For a lot of church denominations in the Philippines have been inviting us to join with them. But what holds us to join them are on the issues of gospel-centered preaching, complementarianism, plurality of leadership, and humility. The following year, November 11, 2017, Dave Taylor visited us in Manila. And he was the very first Sovereign Grace Church pastor to preach in our annual Leadership Summit. We were so inspired to hear a fellow preacher that is like-minded in faithfulness to the gospel, Reformed theology, believes in plurality of leadership, yet evidently marked with humility and joy as he serves us. And he loves candies and gummy bear, by the way. I brought him to a buffet, and all that he ordered is a gummy bear. So sorry, Dave, for that. God came along just at the right time. He came when our churches are growing and expanding, yet pride is creeping as well in my heart. The temptation of having this, what I call in the Philippines, the Pope mentality, brought me to fear myself, asking God to give me the grace to embrace the cross and to die to myself. God came along just at the right time when people praise you for being a great pastor. But little do they know that deep behind this armor, the warrior is a child. With all my insecurities, frailties, and I remember someone said, "I'm just a worm in the master's hand." He came when I feel alone, exhausted, and tired. And in His providence, God brought Sovereign Grace Churches so that I may be reminded that I have a family of churches whom God has touched their hearts to pray for me and be partners in making His name known in our region, if not in the whole world. Like all pastors, I need fellowship. I need accountability. which is why I'm so glad that I'm a part of a family of churches that builds relationally and seeks to care for our pastors and their wives. Yes, for their wives. Because for more than 30 years of serving the Lord in the Philippines, this is the only denomination that I have met where they treasure the pastor and the pastor's wife. My marriage with Jeannie for the past 30 years were strengthened and refreshed by the grace of God through His Word and by the examples of Sovereign Grace Church pastors and their wives we've met for the past 6 years. And we will continue to treasure and cultivate such relationship. I would also like to take this time to honor Jeannie, my wife, the photo queen of Sovereign Grace Church, for being a supportive wife and my very best friend for the past 30 years. Thank you, honey. Yeah. A few weeks ago, we just celebrated God's faithfulness to our church ministry for 30 years. 4 churches in Manila and 13 churches in Mindanao. We were visited by 3 pastors from the U.S., David York, Tony Walsh, Dadeline Baird, and 2 pastors from Australia, Dave Taylor and Riley. We have guided 13 candidates for ordination this year and 9 new ones so far this coming year. A few hours ago, I talked over the phone a fellow whose church is 16 years old, and he wanted accountability for he doesn't want to walk alone. I told him that I understood him, for I was in the same boat 6 years ago until the Lord in His grace connected me to Sovereign Grace Church. Please do pray for him. I asked Lynn Baird to talk to him as well. And God willing, we might have a Sovereign Grace Church in San Diego, California. Thank you. Thank you, Sovereign Grace Church. For your love to the gospel and clear examples of Christ-like humility and spirituality. And above all, thank you, Lord, for orchestrating all these events for the glory of your name and your church, the dearest place on earth. God bless us. Thank you.